Hi everyone, in today's video we're going to be looking at Danessa Myricks Lightwork VII, the Freedom palette. Now you don't have to be a Wham fan to watch this video, but if you are, it helps, so watch on. This is what the palette looks like. It's quite weighty and it looks like this. And what you do is quite easily actually with your nail, you kind of lift this up and this is now going to be the lid of your cheeky little 6-pan. There's actually a mirror here, I haven't peeled the thingy what's it off yet, but it's kind of a very nice coppery kind of finish, which is quite classy. And then, so you just take off the plastic lid like this, take off the little plastic covering, and then you have this. Now, I have used this all afternoon basically. I've done several looks which I'll be able to show you, and I've swatched and I've kind of really given it a good old go. So while this video is very much a first impressions, I have tried to use as many of these shades as possible this afternoon. My eyelids are sort of on their last legs, as it were, different part of the body. But anyway, this is an all over palette. So you're meant to be able to do your face and your lips and your eyes with it. I'm not going to do that. That's just not, I do apologise. Eyelids only. I'm not going to do that. However, you may well be way more skilled than me and I'm sure you'll be able to do it. In which case, if you do, send me photos of your pedicure because, you know, I'm not, you know, eyelids only. Have a look. So I'm going to show you the swatches, but what you sort of can't see, and I'm going to do this, these are very, very shifty. There are some amazingly shifty shades here. These two, for example, the blues here, and then here as well. So there's a lot going on, a lot to discuss. I will share all my thoughts, but more importantly, you're going to get the opportunity to have a really good look at these shadows, how they look on the back of my hand, how they perform on my eyelids, and we'll keep kind of checking back so you can see. This is a pricey palette. It's not a sort of, it's not a trivial purchase, it's a considered purchase. So really, it seems to me, for you as well as for me, although I've already bought mine, you do need to be able to be getting a lot of use out of this to justify the cost of it. Now, it does have something which on a first glance looks like a gimmick, but it's really not. It's really immensely practical. What you can do is you lift up these shades like this, you put the lid on, and now you're good to go. You can take that away with you in your makeup bag, whatever, on holiday, on a train, on a plane, whatever you want to do. You can also, should you wish, like a lot of Danessa's palettes, you can mix and match and just create your own palette. Again, I'm not going to do that because I like to keep things in the way that they're meant to be. Otherwise, I just get very confused. Also, of course, the names are on the back and it will just be very confusing for me. But again, I think plenty of people like to do that. I know makeup artists do it all the time, but for me, as an amateur, very much a makeup lover, but extremely amateur, I'm not up for that. But I am up for this business. This, big fan of that. And also, you can do the whole stacking kit. So actually, when you travel, you don't have to take the long container. You take this little eyeshadow sandwich, as I like to think of it. It's really good. It's basically Duplo for makeup lovers. It really is. Initially, I was thinking, oh, it's like Lego, but the reason why I know it's not like Lego is I would buy my children really complicated Lego sets like the Death Star and the Hogwarts castle and whatever. And I'd think this is going to keep them occupied for days and then I could have some peace and quiet over Christmas. Didn't work that way. They'd kind of do it in about 3 hours. And that was a bit annoying. So I'm going for something simpler. This is very much Duplo. Very easy, genuinely magnetic, you know, and quite nifty. Good space saving. So I am a fan so far of the packaging. What I will say to you is you may remember mine, I've used mine a lot. You may remember this little baby over here. As I said, I've used it a lot. This also can go on the same sandwich. So, you know, I know it's not a sandwich, but it feels like a sandwich. That's a good thing as well. And just so you can see, the colour of the lid is different. This is very much a pewter, the pastel one, and this is very much a copper. like expensive French cookware. Anyway, let's have a look at the swatches and you can see what you think. But before we do that, I will just give you the heads up and tell you that on my eyelids, I have used this one, not surprisingly. And we'll talk a little bit about my experience later, but let me just show you close up what this looks like. And you can see the swatches, and then we'll go on to some eyeshadow demos. So here I have used the 2 blue shades as well as the grey and the black. I'm going to hold it up so you can have a look. I've used as a liner this shade here, which, and I will talk you through them, there's all sorts of different formulae on this. This one's called Mother's Love, and it's a hyper shine metallic. We'll go through them all, but I've just used that as a liner. And then on my lids, I have used this one. Is it this one? Yeah, this one here, which is called Dreamer. And I've also mixed it with a bit of this, which is Northern Lights, a velvet metallic. They're very, very smooth. And just in the crease, I used the grey, which you can see. And I did use a little bit of the brown of one of the other shades as well. But that's what you get with this. Very, very metallic, very, very shiny. Danessa says that while this is an all-over face palette, she says there are 18 infinitely wearable shades. As I said, for the eyes, the face and the lips, 10 groundbreaking finishes. Well, we will be the judge of that. And obviously these are curated mini palettes. She is, as you know with Danessa, she's very big on reminding us that these are finger forward. So she is very much keen on us being able to use our fingers for all the shades, and a brush is kind of optional. I've used a mixture, which you will see, and she does say it's designed for all skin levels. I'm assuming she means shade or tones, and all makeup styles. Fully magnetic, customizable and stackable for on the go. So for those makeup emergencies, we can just take this with us and be on our way. As I said, I don't like a full kind of face palette. I like to use my own. I like to use my own blusher, and lip gloss, lipstick, whatever that will be. Because even at the end of days, at the apocalypse, of course I'm going to have my makeup bag with me. I'm not going down without a fight. I'm really not. Also, the other thing that I fear is if I used something like this all over my face, I'd end up looking like Adamant or a new romantic or something. And while people can look really cool doing that, I'm not a cool person. I will just look a little bit mad and a little bit crazy. And I don't want to do that. As I say, I'm not going down without a fight. I am going to look my best. Okay, let's look at the swatches. I'll show you the swatches, but just to remind you, we've got these lovely cool tones here. We've got the sort of beautiful kind of pinky tones here. And then we've got the earthy tones here. So I'm going to start off swatching these 6 here, just so you know what the order's going to be. So here, I think you can see the sparkle. We have Northern Lights, which is a velvet metallic. And next we have Dreamer, a chrome topper. That goes very well actually over this one here, which is a beautiful soft touch matte called Magic Moon. And then this one, Mother's Love, Hyper Shine Metallic. It's quite chunky, this one. It's worth knowing that that's chunky. And this one is gorgeous, grounded. It's called Grounded. It's a soft touch matte. And here we have Star Power, a hyper shine metallic. So that's the cooler colour story. And here we have got Love Potion, which is an elastin multichrome. And then we've got Wish, which is a sheer metallic that's also an elastin. And then here, this is gorgeous, Guiding Light, a foil flake metallic. And here, Spellbound, a hypershine chrome metallic. And here, Toasted, another soft touch matte. And Open Heart, a foil flakes chrome. You can see how good the colour story is in the sense that we've got 3 distinct colour stories here, and here's 2 of them. Completely different. And then finally, here We have Golden Child and Elastin Multichrome. Warmth, which is a sheer metallic that's also an Elastin. And here we have Sand, a soft touch matte. Enchanted, a hyper shine matte. This is gorgeous, this shade. Here's Rooted, a soft touch matte again. Mother Earth, velvet, it's a velvet chrome. So that's the entire palette. There's an awful lot of variety here, it seems to me. Can you see with this one here, which is Mother's Love, can you see how it's kind of already, it lifts up on my hand. So it will need some help lying flat. And that's it there. And next up, here are the shades in daylight. It's actually it has been a very, very grey day here, but it is still daylight. So take a look. Now I'm in a room which is basically glass, even though it's carpeted. So it's a grey day here in the UK, but it's bright daylight. You may or may not be able to see a cat's tail. I do apologise. I have very vain cats. I think this is probably why I picked them. That's what they look like in daylight. Let me show you the palette in daylight. I mean, there are some really gleamy shades in there, in this. Let's see what they're like on the eyelids, but they're very gleamy. Look at these two here. This one, and these two blues here. And I suppose this one as well, actually. It's just that it's in the creasy bit of my wrist. So let's take a look at this first one. Now I'm going to do a really soft and easy look, and I'm actually going to start with Toasted, which is one of the soft touch mattes. These are the mattes that I so enjoyed in the Pastel 6-pan from the summertime. It's just really easy and obviously extremely smooth. This is really, for me, what made me buy this palette. There's the combination of the mattes as well as all the gorgeous different permutations of metallic. So it's just hopefully going to be very usable. But let's see, this is my first look. I might hate it by the end of this. Who knows? And using the old finger, I'm going in with Guiding Light. This is a foil flake metallic. It feels soft on the finger and it goes on actually very smoothly on the lid. I didn't experience any fallout, which was kind of surprising because you kind of look at it in the pan and you think this is going to be a problem, but actually it wasn't. I should say all I've got is some Lisa Eldridge Phoebe. I was going to say Fiji, which is probably where I quite like to be because the skies are so grey at the moment. At any rate, super easy to blend with the finger as you would expect. Danessa makes a big thing of this finger forward, which I always want to say finger food instead of finger forward. That is something else and more about me than anybody else. At any rate, goes on really smoothly and it's an absolute delight, frankly. Then I actually made a mistake because I went in to Wish, which is an Elastin sheer metallic, and actually it's not made to be used in the inner corner. I think it's much more of a topper, so I'll need to try it on a different look and just put it on top of one of these lovely mattes. So I had a look, and actually it does look nice, but it didn't give me quite what I was looking for. So then I switched to Love Potion, which actually did it. This is the Elastin Multichrome. And actually, I think that was a bit better. Obviously, all blended in. Again, no fallout. I just wanted something that was soft enough to be worn, for just a normal day without looking too glitzy and too glam, actually. And then all I did was put a little bit more of the metallic on the lower lid, and I was pretty much good to go. But as you can see here, it all blended in absolutely fine, no effort. I mean, I kind of took my time because it's quite nice to luxuriate in a new palette, and I did have the time, but you don't really need to. This is actually a very, very quick look indeed. Then I just put a little bit more of mascara, even though I had mascara on already. And did I need to tidy up? Yeah, I had to tidy up a little bit. I did find that there was, I think because when I blended the matte once more, I hadn't tapped off, so a little bit of fallout, but honestly, nothing to get excised about. And that was the final look, which I thought was really very, very easy, not difficult at all to wear, and just, very easy, very forgiving on my dry, mature lids. Very wearable, actually. Yeah, it doesn't all have to be razzle-dazzle with this palette. That's what it seems. I'm now going to do a look on each eye using this. Now, just to remind you what these look like, here they are. Look at the shine on the two that I'm pointing to. And if you look at this one here, This is the one which is a hyper shine metallic. I think we can see that it is a hyper shine. And next to it, we've got Mother Earth, which is a velvet chrome. Is it velvety? I suppose you could say it's a bit more velvety, but it's definitely got a shift to it. Can you see how it goes from a sort of a gunmetal-y green to a brighter green? It's lovely, isn't it? I'll do a muted look on one eye, and then we'll really go for it on the other eye. As you can see, I have very little sense of direction, even when it comes to a £6 palette. I had to, as you noticed, sort of put my fingers underneath the shades just to show you, so I didn't look like a bit of an idiot. Plus, you don't know how many kind of takes it took for me to kind of get it right. No sense of direction. At any rate, yesterday, yeah. In the UK, we had one of the phone networks go down, and it was a problem for me because I had gone out of London, south of London, and which is quite a long way from me. And of course, then I had no sat nav to come back. I no longer have an actual physical map in my car. I had no idea. It is a miracle I am not filming this, frankly, from Liechtenstein, because there was a moment when I thought that's where I'm going to end up. I'm just going to keep driving and I'm going to end up in Liechtenstein with no phone connection. I won't be able to phone anybody to come and get me, and maybe I'll just end up living there. Who knows? But actually, as it happens, as you can see from the wallpaper, I did manage to make it back home. How that happened? No idea. You know those geese that emigrate? Do they emigrate? Yes, they do. They emigrate. We get them. They come, I think they come from Siberia, or they come from somewhere in Russia, and they come to the UK. And sometimes I see them when they're kind of, you know, doing their thing, their migration. And you know how geese take, I don't know how I got onto this, but, you know, bear with me. Or maybe not. And they take it in turns to be the bird that's flapping at the front, so that, you know, they don't get tired, and they sort of take it in turns. Well, I'm very glad I'm not a goose, because honestly, they would not end up in the UK. Again, they'd just be somewhere in... They might end up actually not leaving, just making a full circle, but that's kind of how bad my sense of direction is. At any rate, it was rather hair-raising yesterday, but I did make it home somehow, and I didn't run out of petrol, and I didn't run out of electricity, and it was fine. Okay, now I'm just putting this lovely matte in both creases just for a little bit of rooting, and then we'll get on to the fun stuff. And I'm going to use my fingers as much as possible, not least because we do trust Danessa. We do trust Danessa, and also I do believe this is actually the best way to put these kind of shades on. So let's just do this. Now, these are the soft touch mattes, as you know, so I'll just put a little bit of this beautiful matte here, actually. Look at that. That's so lovely. So smooth. She really knows what she's doing. I think what attracted me to this palette, only because I love the pastels, the £6 pastels from the summer, but despite the price, I kind of thought, because I've got mattes, I'll have more versatility. But I also thought, wouldn't it be lovely to have the kind of palette which kind of gives you a little bit of everything, the way, you know, Natasha's palettes at their very best can do. So that's kind of what attracted me to it. Plus there's cool and warm, so there's a bit of everything. Right, shall we see what we've got now? I think we've got, am I right in saying that? Yes, we have got, am I right? Look at, yes. Okay, so what we will do is I'm going to go into this one, which is a sheer metallic. I'm just going to put it on top and see what happens. Okay, so look, this is very soft. Has it gone on smoothly? It has gone on smoothly. It's probably not got that buttery quality that I would probably have expected on this shade anyway. But it has gone on smoothly, and it is kind of, you know, soft and gentle. I do want to try this multi-chrome. It's that one there. Now it is, can you see when it moves about? it shifts around. It's got a kind of marigoldy quality to it in terms of the colour, in terms of the shade. Let's try putting it in the corner and see what happens. Oh, that's nice, isn't it? Can you see that? I wonder if you can see that. I'll put a bit more so that you can see. That really lifts it. That's rather fun and quite quick. I think I'm going to put this on the, I'm going to do this one? This one. I'm going to put this on the lid. And let's see what happens. This is Enchanted Hyper Shine Metallic. Oh yes, as expected. Look at that. Can you see this from the moon? Because that's kind of my litmus test. Is the man in the moon going to want to wear his sunglasses? It's got the wink factor, hasn't it? Now, you know, you can see that if you were very sort of creative and wanted to experiment a bit, you could just use these as fabulous liners, couldn't you? They would be very good. Now this is very smooth, I have to say. You see, that's what it looks like. That's what I don't like about wearing dark nail polish. The underside kind of looks grubby. They're not dirty. They're just a bit, there you go. It's just the nail varnish shade. I do like this. Let's put a bit more on, because you know, more is more. Who wants minimalism? It's so overrated. And it's kind of, it's just, sometimes, not always, sometimes it's just an excuse for being mean. Do you know what I mean? Like Nouvelle Cuisine. That was just an excuse to save money on ingredients. And then we all went home and had a cheese sandwich. I rather like this. What do you think? Moves about a bit. Now, I do want to put this somewhere. I'm going to try a bit on the outer corner and we'll see how it goes. Shall I try it with my finger? I'll try it with my finger. See what we get. Oh yeah, oh that works. I think I've been a bit messy on this bit, but I'll tidy it up. Oh, that's nice, look. Do you know what I like about these? Both the metallics and the mattes, but especially the metallics, and I found this with the pastel shades. If you've got deeper skin generally, or if like me, you've got just dark, you know, skin around your eyes, they really show up. You're not sitting there kind of, you know, scrubbing away trying to get the pigment to, you know, to do its thing. You know, these have got a proper work ethic. They get it right first time. You don't have to keep nagging. You know? Oh, I like that. I'm going to take a clean brush. You know, have you noticed that people always say that? As opposed to, I'm going to take a really dirty brush and really mess it up. Of course you're going to take a clean brush. I'll just give it a cheeky blend and let's see. I actually like this. That needs a bit of a tidy up, but that was my fat finger, you know, just doing that. But I do like this. Should we try putting a bit underneath and see what happens? Remember, I'm just putting this one. I might mix it with the matte brown. That's what we'll do. Let's see. Lovely. So, look. From one palette, we get a sort of an everyday kind of look. When I say everyday, I kind of mean, you know, stress-free, yeah? And then this one has obviously got more commitment. Okay, I'm going to put a bit more mascara and tidy up, and then we can have a proper look. I've put mascara on. The only thing that I did off camera, eyeshadow wise, is in the inner corner I put more of the same shade, which I forget, it's called Golden Child, the Elastin Multichrome, and the one that I put on the inner corner here I also put on the inner corner here. So let me bring you in so you can have a look. There was no fallout apart from a little bit of the matte, but as I said, that was kind of a bit a bit really to do with, not the matte, sorry, it was the green, but that was my finger, but I tidied that up. Okay, so have a look. So this is obviously the easy day look. And then we've got a slightly more punchy look. What do you think? I find these very usable as long as you're a greeny lover, which I am. Is there an eyeshadow I don't particularly like? Yeah, I suppose burgundy's the ones I struggle with, but the Byredo's kind of, you know, brought me out of my comfort zone. But greens are kind of, you know, they're a kind of set point for me because I like those kind of earthy tones. But I don't know whether it would be right for you and whether you feel that you would get the value out of this palette. So you've seen the kind of more easygoing light beigey tones. You've seen these kind of earthy greeny tones, but still, you know, quite a lot of pizzazz. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. And let me know whether in fact you've already gone for this palette, because I think it has already been popular. There's been lots of orders already, but I'd like to know. Let me know. I've taken all my eye makeup off, and for the final look we'll sort of start afresh. Otherwise, you know, it does become a bit sort of like not washing your dishes and trying to eat. Anyway, I am going to use this one, but I'm going to very much focus on these two shades here. Now, what's interesting is once I kind of swatch these, and I've put them on the back of my hand here, what's interesting is this one, which is called Spellbound. This is a Hypershine Chrome Metallic. It's super smooth under the fingers, is this one here. Really super smooth. And here's the other one next to it. I don't know whether you can see the difference, because there is a difference, but it's more to do with the texture as well. So this one, as I said, is the one that's a Hypershine Chrome Metallic. And this one, called Open Heart, is a Foil Flakes Chrome. Now this one does feel, when you put your finger in it, can you see how it's not messy, but you can see that there's a kind of indentation. There are flakes there, but as long as you use your finger, they do set down matte on the skin, but you can see them, and to a degree you've kind of got to sort of press them in. It'll be interesting to see how they work on the lids, because I did have some difficulty with the blue look very much at the beginning of the video that I actually did off camera. Now, there was one of the shades of the blues that I want to show you because it's quite problematic to work with. And I'll tell you which one it is. It's this one here. It feels quite thick. It's the most amazing shade, just to remind you. But by the time you put it on your skin, and this was slightly tricky to swatch much earlier on in the day when I did just an initial swatch for social media, just to kind of, you know, have a look. When you put it on, it looks amazing, but it doesn't kind of smoothly diffuse and spread. It's quite hard work. It's slightly sticky. So on the eyelid, which of course the skin is so much finer, and you know, for me, I've got dry lids, so, and they're a bit crepey, it's harder to spread. It made a fantastic eyeliner. It was fine with a very fine brush because you've got total control and you haven't got as much product. So my fear, I suppose I'm trying to sort of say to you with this, is I'd like to know whether we're going to have the same problem with this one, which is a different formula, but still feels slightly sticky when I kind of swatch it. So can you see how it's raised? If I do that, you can see it could be problematic. So I'm going to go very easy, only because I don't want to take it off my eyelid if it doesn't work, just because they've had quite a lot of wear this afternoon, and tomorrow I won't wear any makeup at all. But, you know, let's see. So I'm just going to wipe my fingers. I'll be back and we'll put some on my eyelids. Also, I just want to tell you, I just used a baby wipe just to clean my fingers, and it was quite hard. I had to kind of, not so much rub the baby wipe, but kind of move it around, because the slightly stickier blue shade here didn't come off very easily. So here's the same baby wipe, and it's the ones I always use. These are really good, actually. These are Aveeno. They're so gentle. You can even use them at a pinch on your eyelids and it's not horrendous. They are really good. But anyway, I just thought, as an experiment, let's take it off my hand together because, there you see, can you see? It doesn't come off in one go. And really it should. I mean, you know, when I'm swatching, stuff should come off at the very most twice. You just need 2 swipes. This is harder. And imagine on your eyelids, you know, that could be a problem. It could be. You know, maybe your eyelids are more hardy than mine, but mine are very delicate little petals. So let's try it on this now and see. Isn't that interesting? It's the same with this one, which is the slightly, as I said, the Foil Flakes Chrome. It's a harder formula to remove, and that's not ideal on eyelids. I mean, I've ended up having to ditch YSL's Lash Clash mascara because it was just taking too long, and it can be a bit demanding on eyelids that have been, you know, I've done a couple of eye looks during the day, and I don't need that with my eyeshadows. So just a heads up, it's not a no, but it's quite a strong maybe from me, because I don't want that on my eyelids in that way. I don't want to have that kind of difficulty. Anyway, let's crack on and see how we go. As I said, I've put a little bit of the brown matte in the corner. You know, these mattes are perfection. I love the Pastel 6-pan that I showed you earlier. All 6 of those shades are super duper wearable. And what I really love about it, and I don't mean to kind of, you know, sort of distract you from this particular purchase, but can you see the brown and the bronze? So wearable. Like, you can just get a really lovely, fresh, natural look. You don't have to go full colour each time. So it's super versatile. Now, that's why this new Freedom palette, in my opinion, has got big shoes to fill, because what Danessa has managed with 6 pans, you know, is quite extraordinary. It was quite a hefty price. I think it was £48, but I've used all of them really happily, no problem. The formulas are great. That's what I feel the real competition with this is, because even though it's 6 pans plays 18 pans, it needs to be, this big palette needs to be as wearable, as easy to reach for as the little 6 pan, because it's a much heftier price at $128. So I forget what I paid in pounds, but it will have been written up on screen. So that's, for me, that's the comparison. It's not the Byredo, it's not anything else. It's comparing another Danessa palette that does a fantastic job with six shades. I've done that. Let us now decide. I'm quite keen to use this shade here because I know it's really smooth on the lids. So let's have a look. Now, the sharp-eyed amongst you will notice that I've changed top again. And it's just because I didn't film this in sequence for a variety of logistical reasons that you don't need to be bored by. But, you know, pest control was involved. And you will know what I mean if you've watched my Harrods vlog. At any rate, we have potentially got a mouse in the house. Well, not a mouse in the house, a mouse in a cavity wall. And as we know, wasn't it? Who was it? Was it Warren Buffett? There's never only one cockroach in the kitchen. I think he used it in terms of business, that if you have a half-wit on the board, chances are he's not the only half-wit. Yeah, I think we can all agree with that generally in life. But it's certainly true in a very practical sense with rodents, because why would you be a sole mouse? Do you know what I mean? Firstly, we know they're not monogamous. So you're not just going to have a little couple, you know, putting their little feet up on a breadcrumb while they watch Netflix in the evening. That ain't going to happen, you know. They're like teenagers, they're pack animals and highly promiscuous. And the same with rats. Said pest control guy had to come and he'd put some poison down last week in the cavity wall. I don't know why I'm telling you this, but there you go. In the cavity wall. So in other words, it's not accessible to anybody unless they've got a very long tail and they squeak, i.e. not my cats. But we've had to make a little hatch so that the pest control guy can put the poison inside. And of course, I kind of feel we've now made a hatch. It's basically a front door for the rodents Do you know what I mean? They're going to put a little kind of, you know, bless this house sign over the door, maybe a little mat, you know, just to make it homely, and then they can open the hatch and let themselves into my house. That's kind of how I imagined this would go. I don't think it is going like that, but, and I didn't dare tell this to the pest control guy, who already thinks I'm, you know, a sandwich short of a picnic. Okay, so this is what this looks like. It's pretty metallic, isn't it? Which I do like. Spellbound, it's called. That was a very good film. Wasn't it with what's her name, Rossellini? I think it with Ingmar Bergman. That's right. Anyway, Hyper Shine Chrome Metallic, very smooth. No problems going on with my finger, as you saw. Let's put a little bit of this in the corner, which I think they call Love Potion. It's an Elastin Multichrome. Now, what's interesting about that is there are a couple of multichromes and they are fantastic. So this is nice and smooth and beautiful, actually. Let's put that in the corner. And you could do this with your finger, it's just that because of my nail it won't go in. I'm with a Rèphr 28 at the moment. So that's why I've changed my top. It was sort of logistical. But actually, as it happens, this is a cooler shade, obviously, than the previous slightly bright pumpkin jumper. So it probably goes better with this look as well. Not that the aim is to coordinate, but I suppose in real life I would do that, wouldn't I? I'm not going to wear pinky eyeshadow with something that doesn't necessarily tone. Okay, so I put some concealer underneath, and what else did I do? I put some more lip gloss on, the Nude Lavalière, and now let's see. I do want to give this a go, but I am a little bit cautious, so I think I'm going to use it as an eyeliner to begin with, and let's see how that goes. What I like about using it as an eyeliner is we'll see how smoothly it goes on. I'm a bit worried about the flakes, because even though they do set down flat on the hand, my hand is smooth, you know, my eyelids are not. So I'll use this, which is one of these lovely little angled brushes, and let's see if it works. It may not work. I don't mean to sound negative. Actually, it's already not working. Oh, actually, hang on. No, it's not working. Okay, we'll use this little Bobbi Brown ultrafine liner. And let's see how we go. But I do like this tone. I don't know what you think of the shadow itself. I do like it. Can you see it kind of moves to sort of a gunmetal-y shade, which is quite nice, quite flattering. I would imagine it depends on the shape of your eye, however, as well. So, you know, there are so many formulas here. I mean, Danessa talks about 10 formulas. It's quite a lot to get your head round, in the sense that you've kind of got to remember how each one performs for your particular requirements. Now, I will just take my mirror here and let's see. Yeah, it's not really coming on. When I say coming on, it's not really. Yeah, let me show you. You can actually see, because I've made a bit of a mess. Right, okay, so I've put it on here. Let me show you how it. Can you see it's not picking it up? Now that is interesting, because it did pick it up for the deep blue shade that I used at the beginning of the video. Should we try putting some on my eyelid? Should we just try it with a finger? I mean, it's my last look, so in the interest of science, even if it does take an effort to take it off the lid, then it's fine. Let's do it. I'm a bit nervous. There you go. Got it on here. Should I just put it in the middle and see what happens? Okay. nice. I mean, it's a good shade. It has spread on the lid nicely. It's actually performed better than I thought it would. It's a bit, when I say one-dimensional, I know it's got lots of dimension. I think what I kind of mean is I don't think it's going to play nicely with the other shades. Do you know what I mean? We'll try it, and I'll try and sort of blend it with this. But from that point, it feels like it's so dominating that it's not a shade that will blend. It's just a star of the show, kind of. Oh, it's called Love Potion. Okay, I'll take a finer brush. Here we go. Let's take the old Rèphr 13, and I'll use this, which we know blends nicely, and let's see if they play well together. I mean, it's pretty bright. I like a metallic eyeshadow. I like a bright colour. This is quite bright. So perfect for an evening, for a party. I think even for me, it's too much for during the day. However, that's not to say it's not right for you. And you know, I'm here to sort of show you rather than complain about my views. Does that show as well on this eye? I think it does. Let me show you. I mean, there's a lot of punch, isn't there? There's no complaining from me about pigments being stingy. None of that goes on here. So it really is for somebody who likes the punch, likes the drama. Okay, I'm going to give it a little blend with this. And I'm just going to wipe my fingers. I've gone through so many baby wipes this afternoon. I mean, it's fine because they are biodegradable, but it's still, you know, it does still feel a bit wasteful. Okay, so let's put a little bit more of this in the corner just to brighten up my inner corner so I don't look too Halloween-y, although, you know, we're coming to that time of year. Now, I should tell you, when this arrived at lunchtime today, it was really well packaged. Somebody had really thought about it. In the UK, when we order from the Danessa Myricks EU site, it comes from Romania, I believe. So, I mean, all right, it's not the kind of distance as it's coming from the States, but it's still, you know, it's still a distance. And it was really very well packaged. There was a lot of plastic, and I know that's problematic, but that aside, in terms of how it was put together, really thoughtfully, carefully packaged and wedged in a way that it wouldn't move, you know, all of that, just very impressive, I have to say. And quick as well. I ordered mine on Friday, it was dispatched on Monday, I think, and today is Tuesday and it arrived. You know, can't argue with that. Shall we try putting some underneath? What I'll do is I will mix the matte brown with a little bit of this lovely shade, which is actually becoming one of my favourites already. It's not that I don't want to use the, whatever it's called, all these names, Open Heart, the foil one, the one that I feel is a bit more problematic to remove. But I don't want to be scrubbing my eyelids any more than I absolutely have to. I am going to need to clean up. I have made a bit of a mess. I don't think this is the shadows. I think this is me making a mess. I will tidy up and clean up. It'll be okay, I think. Yeah, you do need to tap off, and I hadn't done that. I'll just tidy up and I'll be back. I have put my mascara on. I am still using this small size of the Dolce & Gabbana mascara, and it keeps performing really well. I'm really impressed. If it keeps performing like this until I get to the end of it, I will definitely buy a full size one. It's just fantastic, so that's good. And what did I do? I cleaned up under here with my, again, Dolce & Gabbana concealer, which is just so creamy. I have, as I've said, taken off eye makeup, redone it, retouched up, re-put more concealer on throughout the day, and it is still, throughout, you know, preparing this video. And it's still not got cakey, even though I've been applying it again, brushing it on. It's just so good. Anyway, so I've done that, mascara and a little bit of lip gloss. I changed my lip gloss actually. For kicks and giggles, I thought I would try some of the new Lisa Eldridge Peekaboo Pink. Looks like this. I've just reviewed all the two kits for the eyes and for the lips from Lisa Eldridge, and so I'm still playing with these. I adore them. I just absolutely adore them. But anyway, that's what I put on my lips with a little bit of the Dior 300 lip liner. So that's what this looks like. Now, I have to say, I do like this more than I thought I would in terms of an eye look, but see what you think. I'll just bring you closer and then we'll get to my final thoughts. What do you think? Now, we didn't use anything as an eyeliner. I think if I do this again, which I probably will in the next few days, I will use the black from the rest of the palette, I think, as a liner. I'm sorry, I had to sneeze. Anyway, I'm not sure whether you can tell that there's sort of dimension there. I think I can see it. I just wonder whether it's visible to you. Do let me know in the comments down below. Everything that I've used today is in the description box down below. I should have said that. I do like it. I actually like it with this lip gloss. It's not so much that it's vampy for me. It's just that it's probably a little bit more purpley than I would wear. But that doesn't mean I'm not going to enjoy using it. It doesn't mean, you know, for something new. These are probably the shades I was most kind of reticent about if we kind of look at the whole thing. So I suppose that kind of brings me to what I kind of think overall. I mean, just to remind you of what the whole thing looks like. As I said, it was these two shades that I kind of thought, oh, I wonder how much use I'm going to get out of them. What I would say is overall, it's good that there's mattes. I'm pleased about my purchase from that point of view. I think if it was all metallics, even though they're different formulas, in a way it would feel less usable and probably a bit samey. This way I can kind of mix things up. And as we saw with the earlier looks, I really do feel that I can get some day looks that aren't scary. Someone will still sit next to me on the bus. That's always a worry. I want people to feel that they can sit next to me on the bus, and yet paradoxically, I don't want them to sit next to me on the bus. Do you know what I mean? Is that just me? Maybe it is. Anyway, if you have, as I have, Groundworks. Now, is this the Groundwork? I think this is the original. This is the Defining Neutrals. This is the original one, which I bought and I thought, oh, I'm going to get so much use from it. And actually, I think to be fair, I'd misunderstood the palette because it is very much for contouring and doing a whole face, which, as I've said before, that's just not how I use my palettes. And you know, I think it's just too much of a professional finish for somebody like me who's kind of not a professional. However, if you have this and you absolutely love this, it could be that this Freedom palette is right up your street because you'll be able to combine the two kind of really, really, really well. I think for someone like me, I'm just going to use it in a very vanilla way. I am an eyeshadow person. This is an eyeshadow palette. I'm going to use it as an eyeshadow. It's not going to be anything else. I am very vanilla in that sense. Not Milli Vanilli, who were not vanilla at all, actually. Yeah, they were quite cool as well, which I'm not. But anyway, I digress. I am going to get the use out of it. This is very much a first impressions. Even though I've done several looks, this is still very much first impressions because I kind of want to feel that I've got my favourite little kind of six pan that I know that I can find my way around and use really easily. And at the moment, I haven't sort of got my head around. That's just because there's so much choice. I have enjoyed all the formulas. The one that I did not enjoy and I'm disappointed by because I really like the shade is this one. This one was probably less problematic on the lid than I thought it would be. It is going to be difficult to take off. I mean, we can see that because it was hard on my fingers and it was hard on the back of my hand. So I will kind of report back. I will still use this. I'll do a load of shorts so you'll see me using them as well. I really, really like the packaging. I like this whole business that I can take one of them, put the lid on, and I'm done. I really like that. As somebody who is quite often on a train, this is going to be very, very useful. And as I said to you, if you're the kind of person that likes to kind of mix and match and create your own palettes, eat your heart out. It's going to be this is going to be fantastic for you. I suppose I would say at this price point, it's true for all of us. We've kind of got to be sure we're going to get the value from it. You know, I'm in now, aren't I? I've bought it, so I will report to you truthfully how much I'm using it. I suppose the one that I'm going to clearly use a lot is this one. All 6 of these are super usable for me, really blendable, easy, no hassle at all. In terms of the others, I do wonder how much use I'm going to get out of this. Obviously, I will report back. And the same with the blues and the greys, just because I do like the blues and the greys, it's just that bright blue is sort of slightly problematic, but I will report back. But over to you. Is this something that you're particularly interested in? I mean, you may well have already ordered it, in which case I'd love to know how you feel about it and how you feel it compares to perhaps Isamea's recent releases, the Byredo, and indeed anything else that you've sort of bought and enjoyed that's kind of pigmented and definitely, you know, definitely committing to the eyeshadow genre, as it were. I love hearing from you. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.